Welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week is no exception. Indonesian horror finally makes its way to Linux, and all I can say is boo. Unity goes open source, not like Unreal Engine 4. It's far more half-assed. And Dead Island makes with the downloading. You can't play it just yet, and you might never want to.
Distance can't alpha brah. Premier racing game on Linux finally hits beta. Red Hat wants you to help improve shitty NVIDIA OSS driver performance. And Right does it right, and we'll tell you about a new point-and-click adventure game from the Rising Goat.
And Wasteland 2 is almost out of early access, that is. The Men Who Wear Many Hats release a game true to their name, with a wee dash of ego stroking. And na 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 na, we give a special goodbye to a friend of the show.
And actually, that person who should die in a fire was Pedro Montes, all the way from Space Portugal, the giggling death, joined by Massa Spang.
Oh, God. That hurt me on the inside. I think I have some internal bleeding.
We're all bleeding inside,
Good.
along
That
with
means I'm
Chat
doing
Realm
my job.
Dynamic watching us live, helping us form a little bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Over here, I learned that, don't believe the lies. I noticed the Ubuntu was running a bit sluggish, and I was like, isn't that supposed to have trim support enabled? It's like, yes, it's supposed to, Vin. Lies! Ended up having to create a cron job, and everybody was like, oh, you know, you can just add a little thing here, TFS tab, and I was like,
Discard, bro.
discard, and I'm like,
Discard.
that does it in real
Yeah.
time and actually slows your shit down. Hate to break that to you. Last resort. That shit's obsolete nowadays. So, a little bit of a trick, did that business, it worked, I liked it. Bob's your uncle, J-Man?
Actually, BTRFS has built-in inbuilt trim, so that takes care of it automatically. No, my best friend got married this week, so I got to stay up to an exorbitantly late hour on Thursday because that's the best time to have a wedding. Thursday night, nice and hungover Friday morning though. Pedro, what about you?
I have a newfound appreciation for the Ubuntu's PBA system. I had to go out of my way to track down a copper repo for Fedora 20 in order for it to let me update Mesa to 10.2 at the very least. Because 10.3 is almost out, and the Fedora team has stubbornly, stupidly, decided to keep Fedora 20 on Mesa 10.1.
Well, let's talk
Bullshit.
about something that everyone should update to, and that's our favorite hosting provider, HostGator.
Oh, they got a bit of a redesign going, didn't they?
Schnappy, you know, he took off the shades. That's because he switched from the alcohol to the PCP. And
Nice.
that's sweet, man. It's that fast. Unlimited disk space, free site building tools, free shopping cart software, forms, and all this other brilliant business starting at 3.96 wet stinkies a month. And now, if you believe, just 20% off. 20% off, man. I mean, isn't that a good deal, J-Man?
No, fuck that.
Hosh
Throw
posh.
Linux Gamecast FTW. That offer code of t-shirt taskiness. And FTW stands for fuck the world, and you'll get 25% off. That's an extra 5%, Ben. Tell them what they could buy with that.
Cocaine. That's brilliant. Speaking of
Sounds
giving
good to me.
people money, we can get a little bit of a PSA. This is short and sweet. Behold, the Amazon
Our
clicky
coins are
things are back. It's brilliant.
Buttons!
What this is, it means you can shoot through your Amazons in the States or in the UK. I think there's one for Canada. I just hadn't got around to putting a hat on it. And we get a taste of that action. Just a little bit, doesn't cost you a thing. It's just another way you can help us out. And it was kind of brilliant of Amazon several months back. They said, don't advertise that on podcasts. And everybody stopped and they went, shit, advertise that on podcast. So we're back with that. We don't get a ton of money from that. We never really did. But if you're thinking about picking up something in your life size, Antonio Banderas blow-up doll or something like that, think about us. Go there, click that link, and buy it through that. Simple as that. Nothing in the way. So what's the horse up to this week, J-Man?
You know, the horse is sending us some encrypted packages. We don't know what's inside them.
Packages.
And maybe we never will. Yes, packages, Ben. It's our Steam
Linux
Update.
of the week. Dead Islands, OMG, totally confirmed. Tour of Islands, madness, and whatever, holiday. Blah, blah, blah. Now, supported systems, makes with the penguin. We saw that history in there. We got the depots. If you never played Dead Island, it really made itself out as like the zombie island horror survival thing that it really wasn't.
It's pronounced Dead Island.
It's Benoy.
But you can download it. But there's something you might want to keep in the back of your brain organ. This could have been ported by my favorite guys over at Virtual Programming, Pedro, right?
Yeah, the Mac port was actually done by Virtual Programming. And the fact that the Linux testing depot is still very much encrypted and they haven't given out the password to anyone yet makes me a little not very confident with regards to how this port's going to be done. But even if it is another VP EON BS thing, I take solace in knowing that a friend of mine actually bought this game for me so I could play with him. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is like, should be PSA number 2. Wait. Don't buy this.
Yeah. Wait.
It could be nothing, but if it is, we'll be glad you did.
Brilliant. Yep. So, the Steamy things, they, seems like, check us out, bro. Yeah. It's like, all right. Well, what you got for me? And it's like, oh, well, further reduce energy usage and all that, but, that's a brand new one. If we back up here just a little bit.
So a day before that one got released.
Wow. That's all kind of crazy stuff. But anyway, what they've done... I'm not even going to bother looking for it.
It was the 21st one, but
yeah,
whatever.
They've added VAA
Steam is going to be adding VAA API support on SteamOS and their Steam client. Basically what that does is it enables some hardware video decoding stuff on Intel GPUs.
Well, why do I care about
accelerated video decoding.
I mean...
Did I not say hardware accelerated?
No.
What this is like VDPAU on your NVIDIA cards, and now with your desktop, laptop-y, graphic-y, little mobile chips, you're going to get some better performance streaming over to your Windows bits and all that, or however that works. Mm-hmm. You guys had an argument earlier, and I just snoped out of it.
No, it was
regarding terminology.
Yeah, it was basically semantics. But yeah, it makes those old Asus EEE netbooks viable streaming clients now, which is
or those
kind of
$300 Zotac Z boxes.
Yeah,
that are fairly handy HP PCs.
Even a Chromebook. The Chromebook.
Yeah, no. It opens up quite the avenue and interesting doors for some legit Steam boxes.
But soon, very soon, Brian Fargo. Yeah, you may know him from titles such as Fallout, Fallout 2, Wasteland, and now Wasteland 2, which according to him, official Wasteland 2 release date, September the 19th. The 20-plus year wait is soon over. Finally, I can play it.
I just shelled out $25 for the Project Eternity beta, so I'm eagerly anticipating that. And Tides.
One thing you do want to keep in mind is, Wasteland, much as we bash on Unity, it's a Unity game, but it's done right. It's like Distance.
Much like Distance. Yeah.
Right.
It's gorgeous. It's brilliant.
It's not the tool. It's the person using. It's
and more importantly, they gave us keys for it forever ago, and they're like, "Here, guys." This is even before it was released on Linux. They're like, "It's coming to Linux. You guys play with it when it comes out." We're like, "Thank you, please, sir."
Thank you, Mr. Fargo.
Yes. But yeah, their PR team is actually top notch. They sent us the keys right then and there and said, you know what? You might not want to review it right now because it's not done. It's only got like the start of the game. So we waited. We've been waiting. And around September 19th, there'll be chairs thrown at it.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't back that sucker. That would have been a waste.
So, titillation with Teneria? Or?
Tenertia.
Tenertia.
So, if you've ever wanted to play a platform game without jumping, this is the game for you. Basically, your main method of mode is rocket jumping.
Yeah, I'm going with rocket jumping, right?
This is a game that has a #YOLO challenge.
Does it have a hashtag Dorito?
make that
That's
make
so
it that much
very
real.
Web 2.0.
It's early access, and it clocks in at that brilliant magic $14.99 price of
Yeah. But they do
But,
claim it has full controller support,
Yeah,
perhaps.
and it looks and they say it's another one of these fuck you hard platformers, and they do. I like how Windows and Linux system requirements are controller recommended, but for Mac they're like you need to have a controller with more than 2 buttons.
Or 2-button mouse, strongly recommended.
Oh, Mac users.
Wow.
But going
But you
from
can-
early access to Steam Greenlight.
Oh boy.
Indonesian horror.
No. They got through Greenlight all right.
Yep.
So
You know, dread out the prices, right? It's $12.
It's $11.99, but I mean, this goes back from a long time. What is this? You play a girl with a camera, and through your mobile, or you got a mobile, and you look through your mobile, and you see spooky shit through that, which you normally do not.
It's Fatal Frame. If
Yeah.
you ever played that for the PlayStation 2,
And
it's
I mean, it's a Unity game, and they get a Kickstarter billions of years ago in the future's past. And
didn't they send us a copy at one point?
they actually contacted me
They
this
sent
week.
us the demo. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Pedro, I forwarded you an email that you should have gotten.
Yep.
And they're like, here, do you want some? So we're probably doing some contest keys for this, but they kind of did this in bad form because they promised, and we're going to release on Windows and we're going to release on Mac, and it's going to be brilliant and all that. Then it dropped on Windows, and I think P-Man might have contacted them, or I contacted them, and I was like, so where's that Linux release? And they're like, I don't know. We'll get to it. And that was like the official
It's
word.
coming at a later time, if I remember correctly.
Right. So we didn't like how they handled that, but we do like how they handled like, here's some contest keys. So we'll work that out. Maybe let you express in that. At the price right now, you can pick it up 20% off.
If you have an OSS sound card, it's compatible.
Oh,
so.
nice. What I
If
remember
you're
from
still
it,
in the early 2Ks.
Oh, man.
Reasonably
But,
fun.
This was a bit weird to see on the Greenlight.
What?
It's an open source. It's an open source game that you can download off.
Why you gotta be hating on open source, bro?
I don't gotta be hitting on open source. I'm just looking forward for the Greenlight page for Super Tux Card and Liero. No, but this is Keeper RL. This is an open source reimagining, reinterpretation of the classic strategy game Dungeon Keeper, and it's on Greenlight. Would you buy this game? No, because I don't have to buy this game.
Yeah, you can actually get it from the Indie database.
IndieDB.
Well, here's the thing. You can download. The engine is open source. The graphical art assets are not. The only way to play the game completely for free is in ASCII mode.
I have zero problem with that.
Right. I mean, when you look at it, I
Hooray.
mean, it's like sprites over what would normally be an ASCII game.
Yeah, no, this looks kind of like Vulture's Eye, the NetHack add-on.
Right. So, I mean, give them. I mean, I would say just give them a bow. I mean, getting open source on Steam is just. Oh yeah, stop. You know, that's brilliant.
And they do have a working Linux game, basically, at this point, so yeah.
Well, they've had one for several years at this point. So.
Yep.
It might end up working.
Go vote for that just because it's hilarious that thing exists on Steam.
Brilliant. Look
But
at my
you guys
hat.
need to be a bit more gentlemanly, I would say.
Good sir.
Yeah.
You need to improve your manners.
Oh God, look at this hipster. All right.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh no, these are the men who wear many hats and their new game, Max
I don't know,
Gentleman.
man. That kind of looks like a bunch of penises.
Gentleman intensifies.
Gently
Oh my
sway.
God, there are dancing bears.
And they
Yep. So,
And
as you may have
and
noticed, the game consists of you stacking hats on the head of a gentleman, and or a gentlewoman if you buy the DLC. The game in itself
that guy was wearing.
Yeah, the game in itself comes at the price of free. But if you do like it and you want to support what they're doing, you can get the DLC packs for about around $5.
Mm-hmm.
So
what does that get you, bro?
that gets you 3. Each of the DLC packs get you 3 different characters and 1 extra level.
And 6 new hats.
Yes, and 6 new hats. You can also unlock
into Team Fortress 2.
You can most likely, but yeah, you can unlock most of the hats in game except for the DLC specific ones. Which again, you're not you're not forced to buy them, but if you like what they're doing and you like the men who wear many hats, kick those guys a few shackles, buy the DLC.
I mean, I gotta say,
things
that's absolutely the correct way to do a freemium game, is make it completely 100% playable. But make it like Team Fortress 2. Buy some hats, yeah.
Buy the hat.
Exactly. And you know what, we should put that hat on the horse and send him on his way.
Slap that
Maybe
ass.
it'll be an encrypted hat. Who knows? Maybe it'll be virtual programming hats that technically run on Linux, but not native hats.
Technically.
That metaphor ran deader than this horse we beat every week. Coming up next, regular news.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news segment. And Jordan, I hear that you're going the distance.
Well, I would if I had access to the forums, because there's a Kickstarter thing. But I can read the headline for you guys. Distance is finally out of beta or out of alpha. It's in beta now.
No, if you don't know about this
Yes, it
story
is.
from billions of years ago in the future's past, I mean, this is a game from the guys who made Nitronic Rush. Now, they made it at Uni, and they would say, yeah, we want to release them. They said, no, all that code's ours. Piss off. So this is like a ground-up re-implementation of this. It is actually made in Unity, but it's made in Unity brilliantly. And if you backed it at the 75 quid tier all those billions of years ago, you've been able to play it up. But if you did the 15 back, you couldn't touch it. You could just sit and piss and moan. When they, a couple of months back, added an option to up, which P-Man did.
Exactly. And it worked.
Yeah.
It did take a couple of days for them to sort out their humble widget thing because it wasn't actually registering when people updated, but they finally got it sorted out. But you don't even need that anymore. Now it's in beta. If you backed at the $15 level, between the 15 and the 45 level, I think, or the 75 for the Kickstarter alpha, you can now play the beta without paying anything extra. Just keep in mind, it is a beta. It works pretty good for what it is.
Multiplayer is working under Linux.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's
we've done
working under Linux and multi-platform because I was playing with
how's
a
that
Windows
controller
friend of mine. Surprisingly, the PS2 DualShock thingy works now, but I'm used to playing with the keyboard.
X-Clone 360 works out of the box. And if you're wondering what this game is all about, it's not just regular racing, it's parkour racing on LSD. But let's talk about some open things from Unity.
It's open.
Yeah,
Yes.
more open source initiatives from Unity. What are they doing? What is Unity? Never heard of it. It's a game engine that the editor only works on Windows. But you can click export and it'll make a really shitty Linux port of the game. What exactly will you open source to? The Unity test tools, some other bits. It's going to be the MIT listens because fuck you, that's why.
Because they don't want anyone else making money off their shit.
And when asked for comment, Epic, the guys behind Unreal Engine 4,
they said
completely open source. They were quoted as saying that's adorable. So baby steps for Unity, that's good. How about spending some money on getting that editor over to Linux native actual?
not
I guess not.
Yeah, all right.
But-
Witcher 3, right?
Okay. So
Let's listen.
what do you call it? SDCC was a couple weeks ago, and there was an interview with Michael Stick, one of the developers from CD Projekt Red, and when asked, is there going to be Mac and Linux ports of The Witcher 3, they say, no.
Oh no, they asked specifically.
No, hang on.
Becoming to Linux.
Let's take a listen.
Let's see.
It's too early to say. Too early to say. Now we're trying, we're focusing on releasing it on PC, Xbox One, PS4, same quality, same experience for all the players. We'll see after that. Linux, Mac, I guess it might be planned, but I don't know about it yet.
And
Same as
you.
all the platforms, which means you're going to be stuck at 30 frames per second, even on PC.
Yeah,
Even on
720p, 30 frames per second.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to that. Hopefully they learned after the virtual programming Eon tech
Oh, no,
fiasco.
it totally smacks of, oh, Really, I guess we weren't expecting that releasing a busted-ass port didn't get a warm welcome, especially when we tried blaming the users for their problems.
Yeah, let's blame the users, especially Linux users, the guys and gals who have no idea how their PC works or what they're doing. Nice job, motherfucker.
And just something I want to get off my chest, Organ, is for anyone still backing virtual programming EonTech, here's the reason, because I thought to myself, Vin, why do you genuinely have an issue with this? It's because all the tech that they're developing, anyone who ports a native version of their game, they end up creating tools and learning new things and sharing that technology with other developers, which helps increase the ability to get games ported to Linux.
Yeah.
The only thing Virtual Program is working on is EonTech for their own proprietary shit that doesn't help any other anything, period. Only them. I mean, it doesn't help the community.
Still works worse than wine.
And
yes,
how can you say, well, that's still a good thing, Vin? It's not. And, you know, unless you're just arguing because you're a troll, you know, listen, I'm not an asshole whisperer, so I can't communicate with you. But some people doing it right, J-Man.
Oh, yes. So, if you don't know about the open graphics guys at Red Hat, it is 3 guys, a dog, and a tunneling electron microscope. And apparently they're looking for a 4th. Or maybe another dog. Who knows? So this was from the GNOME blogs. What's his name? Christian Schaller puts out an offer. He says, we have an opening in our graphics team to work on improving the state of open source GPU drivers. Your tasks can include various types of blah, 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 blah. And you got to move out to Boston. So if you are someone with Kernel X, Wayland, or Mesa experience, and you have a desire to move to Boston, this might be your
Boston.
gig. Well, you know, Ben actually pointed out that he thought this was for AMD, but very likely this is to improve NVIDIA open source drivers, because that is what Red Hat is primarily focusing on with their graphics.
Yeah, and performance parity between the open source and the proprietary drivers on Linux would be actually kind of awesome. It would sort of release the whole grip that NVIDIA has on the Linux gaming ecosystem at this point.
But you got to be realist. I mean, these guys are not working to make whiz-bang 3D games. I'm sure the development is focused on the 2D drivers, not 3D.
No, it's progress is progress.
I mean, I'm just saying, don't everyone think that all of a sudden next year we're going to have, you know, fantastic 3D.
Well, all things considered, probably in the coming months, AMD's open source drivers will reach that sort of parity when it comes to 3D performance. At least the R600 branch will definitely hit that in the coming months.
No. And finally, when Half-Life 3 comes out, we'll get GL 4.5 compliance in Mesa.
Yes.
Well,
speaking of Mesa, I just wish the Fedora guys would actually drop those retrograde policies.
Will it game
more often?
Will it
yes.
blend?
Will it blend? And this comes from the 3dpalace.com. You can find the link in the show notes, as is tradition. The Blender, the bunker game making tutorial set for Blender by G-Man X. So yeah, this guy actually went out of his way to create a YouTube tutorial on how to use Blender as a full-on game engine.
Well, it's got a game engine built into it, right?
Yeah, he's walking around in first person, and he's got some textures which he got photos of. It's a bunker, and he teaches you how to add doors and like make objects movable and everything, and add creaky sounds to the doors opening. It's actually a very nice tutorial. Now, then,
here's what I'm going to say. You know, Blender Game Engine. Right, seriously. No one, there's been one commercial game, I think, called Dead Robot that was released using that. And it wasn't too bad. Here's my thoughts. Don't ever use Blender for making a game. A. But B, this is brilliant. I mean, if you're just sitting back thinking, maybe I want to get into game, this is going to teach you some things. Just some basic things.
And you don't have to pay for expensive IDs. It's
nothing.
All in Blender.
Everything's free. I mean, this is going to give you, you know, just your general grasp of things. And on that merit, I think it's completely fantastic. I mean, they're giving this away. Go shove that in your brain organ if you're thinking about getting into game development yourself. But,
yeah. I remember actually building entire cities in the NWN Aurora engine a while ago, but that's because it was easy to use. Blender is not.
You know, they were actually using the Aurora engine to teach.
You know, we're actually on the next story, so
we are. But he had to bring that up, and I had to add my little point. Right from the stars, from Jose, the character designer animator. He sent us that, didn't he?
He did,
yeah,
man.
They did it right because there's a Linux demo.
Yeah,
so
they did it right after we called
grand.
them out on it. After we called them out on it, they finally came up with a demo, so good on them at least.
I mean, you got to look at it. These guys have contacted us like 5 or 6 times. They're like, hey, guys.
Yeah.
promote us. And we just come back. We're like, you know, playable Linux demo, or get the fuck out, or we're going to come over to your house, tie you down to a chair, and make you watch Spice World. You got 2 options. But now, check it out right here. There's a Linux version. What are they asking for? 40,000 wet sticky. They got 12 wet sticky down. Wow, that's loud.
That's really loud.
12 days to go, so I'm maybe not seeing this actually happening. What's it about, P-Man? I didn't get a chance to play it.
It's a puzzle game. It's a third-person puzzle game where your character is that leaf-headed guy you see at the start of the page there. Honestly, I had fuck all idea what I was doing. The demo actually worked, but I really had no idea what I was doing, and there were some graphical glitches with the lighting and the shadows. So that's pretty much the only thing I noticed about that particular demo.
The trailer, I don't know. The clip from the beginning of the trailer kind of gave me a Sierra game type vibe. How does this game play?
It's like I said, it's a third-person like helicopter camera. No, you use the. I'm trying to think of a game that was. Did you play Enclave back in the day?
I did not.
Yeah. It was kind of like that without the RPG bits. It was just the puzzles themselves. But yeah, it's more of a action puzzle sort of game without so much action.
I see. Well, they have a Linux demo, so you can check out their Kickstarter page. The link will be in the show notes, as are all these links.
All that brilliance aside, so somebody want to play the trumpets?
So a very important announcement.
I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa!
Samsai from Gaming on Linux made a post regarding Liam Dawes' decision to take a step back, as he said.
I would use the word abscond.
Abscond. Well, I would use that word, but then again, he chickens out on the whole thing in the comments, so maybe not. But yeah, Liam has kind of sort of taken a break, and he said he was not sure if he was ever coming back. But as soon as this post came up and people actually started reacting to it on the comments, he immediately chickens out in the whole thing. Oh, it's not as serious as it may seem. I'm not sure, but I'll probably be back. Well, then, motherfucker, if you're going to say something, at least commit to it.
He's listening to a bit too much Simple Plan, I would say. He's just a kid, and life is a nightmare. And
yeah,
especially when you.
I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on this. It was just I remember when it popped up on the Twitter feed. It was just Liam. He was like, "Oh, I'm leaving Gaming on Linux," and I was like, "Again, so it's that time of the week. All right." This is like the 3rd time. It's like somebody give that boy some attention. And
this might be an inopportune time, but LinuxGameCast is looking for writers.
Mm-hmm. That's a brilliant thing. And normally, here's the whole thing. I was going to let it slide, but then I had the whole thing. He is also exposed to a lot of hatred comments that he might interpret as being hate. Well, he also says a lot of hatred and comments that are just fucking hateful.
He's also a complete cunt sometimes.
No. He would have to be banned from Linux_gaming if he was one of those.
Wait. But, enough of that. Let's stop feeding the pity trolls.
Yeah.
Coming up next, darkness imprisoning me. All that I see.
Absolute horror.
Our review section.
That's
absolute horror, all right.
That's racist.
Horrible game. Where am I? Can't see. Damn you, sunlight! I knew I shouldn't have stared directly into the sun, but this is Blinding Dark, Unity game from Games Hut. You can check it out at blindingdark.com. Did they recently get through a Greenlight campaign? I believe they did. They're on the Steams now, so you can check that out.
It's
You can
not
buy
an
it
early
for-
access, surprisingly.
It is not an early access game, but you could have fooled us. Retails for $9.99 wet stinky euros or wet stinky American capitalist scum dollars. So, of course, with every game that crosses our path, it faces the chairquisition, and that's totally the gravity gun. God damn it! One chair means that shit. 2 chairs means that's myth. 3 chairs means that's pretty good, and 4 chairs means that it's fucking awesome. As awesome as an all-night bender on cocaine ending in a lot of fast food. And of course, we have our categories. Oh, Doom makes with the working, shiny and sounds controls, and fun. So then, did Blinding Dark make with the working, or was it absolute horror?
Imprisoning me. Here's the thing. Things kind of started out a bit, all right. It just launched, and I was playing for a bit, and I was like, all right, that works. Then they pushed out another update, I believe it was yesterday.
Yep.
And I wanted to spend some more time with it today, because it only showed that I'd played 12 minutes, even though I'd put like 40 minutes into the game. So I started in offline mode because I was watching the Doctor Who's, and I didn't want anything dodging with my bandwidth while I was doing this, and it wouldn't start in offline mode, does it? This has been reproduced by P-Man. And
Yep.
so then I finally get back into the game, online mode after the Who's was off. Played it for, another 20 minutes. Just finally solidified my utter love for this. Went to close it, and I unlocked 15 out of 18 achievements without really doing anything.
Pedro did not reproduce that part, by the way.
Yeah, I could not.
So, mixed with that and the time tracking wonkiness, could give it the 4 chairs, but, I'll give it a solid 3 for the most part on our Ubuntu 1404 LTS NVIDIA-powered box of business, J-Man.
So, this has been a common thing that has occurred in Unity games that we've covered, where if you're using NVIDIA TwinView for your multi-monitor setup, Unity will just fucking nope the hell out of that. Go on your secondary monitor and only show you half the screen. You have to go into the prefs file in order to correct that. I have decided that from now on, I'm no longer taking this shit. If I have to go into the prefs file to fix your fucking resolution bullshit, you immediately lose 2 chairs from Makes with the Working, because this is unacceptable in 2014. Period.
Yeah,
End of
sounds good
story.
to me.
End of story. But, like most Unity games on my system that people just click export for, the sound was busted the first time around. Then again, it freaked out the cat. But what I like the most is even though my mixer, this 3-channel mixer, is my primary audio device, all Unity games think the Sound Blaster card that's hooked up to my room speakers should be the primary audio device, and that thing's cranked up because I use that to listen to music all throughout the house. So everywhere.
What did you test it on, man?
I was getting to that. I tested it on my Fedora 20 powered 670 superclocked business with an AMD 1050 or 1090T hex core processor. So not a slouchy system, and just can't figure out what my mixer is apparently. So that gets 2 chairs.
So as far as slouchiness goes, when it comes to hardware configurations, I think my calculator takes the cookie, because it's an i3 370M with an ATI 5650 HD Mobility Radeon, and on my end, it, again, much like Jordan, it attempted to full screen into both my monitors, failed miserably, which is something I haven't seen a Unity game do since last week. And besides that, if I tried to push shift to sprint or control to duck, the game would teleport my character up out of the nav-meshed part of the map, which means I could not move. I was literally stuck. I could see the level from above, but I couldn't move. And the Friday update fixed absolutely none of the most pressing issues. So for me, it gets 1 chair.
Oops, one chair. Sorry.
Oh, wow. So that's 2 chairs for Mix Up the Working. Not a good start. Shiny and sounds, Ven.
Shiny
What do you...
sounds. Let's take a look at this portal gun.
Gravity gun.
Gravity gun, all that business.
It's the fucking gravity gun. There's no apology.
It
Oh, look, LSD.
doesn't look horrible because I have to keep continuing reminding myself this is a Unity game and you can make a pretty Unity game, as evidenced by Distance and Wasteland 2. But
Yep.
if you look down, which is like, for the first reason, we'll get into the controls why that happened because I breathed on my gerbil and it straight down. You just kind of, your feet are just like, you got hover feet. And like,
What's that, Ben? Is that like hover hand?
Kind of, except with your feet and with the ground without boobs, man or woman boobs, either way. And seriously, the sounds, they're good. I mean, I didn't hate them, but I'm wondering, is like, has the guys from Frictional not seen this game? Because that's almost a scene-by-scene shot waking up sequence from fuck-mothering Amnesia. And here's the whole thing. As I said, it's not bad looking, but again, it's not Amnesia. It doesn't look that good, so it's on a budget, and it costs more currently. So the best I can do with that business is 2 chairs, J-Man.
Yeah, like I said, like most shitty Unity games, the sound is busted on the first run. I don't know if any of you had this problem with the lighting, but it was completely fucked. And you can as you sort of, once you get the torch and move it around, you can see that the lighting code is completely busted.
It takes a while.
It takes a while as you transition from in the same room.
You can see the cells lighting up as you go.
You can see the texture squares lighting up as you go. It was really trippy. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Did something move on the? Are you fucking serious? What is this, pre-alpha? This is unacceptable, and this is something that they're charging money for. My God. Yeah, no, the lighting is the biggest problem. It really ruins your suspension of disbelief. The graphics themselves are mediocre, but a lot of what makes these horror games is the sound. You should be feeling like there's something just slightly behind you that may not be, but it's enough to keep you on your toes. This game just fails to do that. It really does. Like I'm walking through going doop doop.
How can it? You're hovering on above the ground. You can't be on your toes.
Oh yeah, no. I'm lighter than air. I feel fantastic. It's like oh look, scary shit. Except it's not scary, because it's just predictable. The atmosphere is barely there. If I were an actual living being and not existing in this zero gravity environment, I would be surprised if there was an actual atmosphere and your character actually suffocates to death because there's no air pressure. But I've rambled long enough. This game, really, for Shining Sounds, for survival horror, this is actually one of the key categories because it's what you need in order to scare people, and it fails, so it gets 1 chair.
Yeah,
immersion, not even a little twinge of nervousness.
Yeah, immersion makes or breaks a horror game any day of the week. And this game, unfortunately, has none. I like how if you look at a movable object at a certain angle with the light hitting it, the camera immediately makes it look like your character sniffed the whole bunch of cocaine, just like, ooh, fractals. Whoa. But yeah, the update for the release on Friday, it solved the old and stiff character by making it more active. What that means is, like Ven mentioned earlier, you're doing the hover dance. If you look down, you see your character floating around like a light breeze keeps swinging him from side to side.
No, it looks like he's tap dancing.
No, it looks like he hung himself.
It looks like complete ass. 1 chair.
Oh, just one?
Well, you can't go any lower than that. Otherwise, you have nowhere to sit, silly. So that's 1 chair for Tiny and Sounds. Controls. Ben, did you feel like you were in control?
Oh, I'll tell you this. When you first started up, the haywire, I mean, the completely mental, and the first version that we started out with had no sensitivity or anything like that. But, you know, we have the YOLO EP and Extendotron G500S Gerbil of Mightiness with its Dorito-braided cord.
And its unlockable scroll wheel.
Knocked that down a few notches. Found it playable. I mean, controlled. I can move up, down, left, and right. And shift in all that business. But, you know, can't really, with the keyboard and all that. Now that they've added, you know, remaps and all that, I'm tempted to give it 3 chairs, but, you know, it's still herky-jerk. I mean, it's not smooth. And you kind of need that for, I mean, it breaks your immersion. Because you don't want to be like, and all that, which you would expect to do if you were scared pissless. But, I mean, this is like Hello Kitty Island Adventure. There's nothing frightening here. You've seen it done better.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give it 2 chairs just because the controls are not completely busted, but it's nothing to write home about, J-Man.
Yes, if this game accomplishes anything, you can move in the 4 cardinal directions without any issue. But no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So as Ven said, controls, the mouse is just completely fucked. I too have the G500 series mouse, so I knocked that thing down all the way to the bottom because otherwise the game was completely unplayable. And even then, it was Quake twitchy. I'm sort of expecting to just like sort of bunny hop through the rest of the level and go, woo, this is faster. Now where's my BFG? And oh, I guess I'll get to that in the fun section. But no, and picking up objects is weird too because like if it brushes next to another like stationary object, you will drop whatever you're holding.
Can I interject just for 1 second?
Go nuts.
One other thing about the controls. This is Amnesia Hand. As soon as you see the Amnesia Hand and you go, oh, that's a fucking Unity game, you're like, oh, this is not going to work right. And guess what? It didn't. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you know, if you expect to like manipulate things with the mouse, no, that's not right.
No, Amnesia and Frictional, you can manipulate anything. This.
No. My main problem with Machine for Pigs is that there are guns all over the place that you cannot use. But that's besides the point. We're not talking about Amnesia. That was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
This one. But yeah, no, controls were I wouldn't give it any more than 2 chairs. Pedro.
Well, 2 chairs is a very nice score because like I said earlier, if I pressed Control or Shift in order to, you know, sprint or duck respectively, it would put me outside the level in a place I couldn't move. Now, with the latest update, they did introduce rebindable controls, and I was really, really looking for an excuse to give this 0 chairs, but they did introduce rebindable controls, so I can't. But originally, you could not rebind the controls, you could not change the mouse sensitivity, you couldn't do anything. So for me, since I play with the directional arrows on the keyboard, I could only move forwards and backwards. Good times. But yeah, they've since sort of fixed that, and they introduced an FOV slider, not a mouse sensitivity slider yet. So for me, and like Ven said, the Amnesia Hand shows up and it does nothing. So 1 chair.
Actually, Koinka just brought up something funny in chat realm. That would be awesome. A survival horror game with Surgeon Simulator Hand. that would be tense. But anyways,
that was a special kind of hell.
That's 1 chair for controls. If this game had Surgeon Simulator Hand, I would give it a much higher score. Have you ever been so scared your limbs just don't work? Coming up next, fun. Then. Did you
fun.
Have fun?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Did you have fun?
It's very not so much with
run,
the fun.
Forrest, run.
You remember I was talking about when you look down and you genuinely, I mean, here's your feet organs, and you look down, they're just like hovering, like you're doing a bit of a shimmy. That's the first thing I was exposed to when I started this fuck mothering game, and you should not have your initial imprint of a game with your hover legs. You should not be going, Sergeant Dan, you got magic legs. I mean, that stuck in my fucking brain organ for the rest of the time I've been playing for 40 minutes. It's really hard to get scared when you're gumpified, man. Laugh like a box of
when your girlfriend has AIDS.
Yeah. That's the
Mom
whole thing.
always said life was like a box of chocolates.
This is about as fun as like when you just get into your teenage years and you think you might have accidentally knocked up the housekeeper. It's about that much fun. It's not fun at all. Nobody wants to know about it. Nobody wants to find out the outcome. That's kind of like this game. It's not scary. Even the jump scare, like right at the beginning, because you first see the bloody hallway. It's like, yeah, that looks like a place I'd hang out. And you prance down there, and the thing, you have no weapons at the time. And it's like, you're dead. And I was like, all right. Continue. And you get into it. I mean, there's no shock value. This has been done. This has been done better. And you can currently pick that up from Frictional cheaper.
Yep.
And it's not a
And
busted
the
Unity
series pack is pretty cheap.
So for
And it's
entertainment
all on
value,
Linux.
it's not complete rubbish. No. At the end of the day, you might find some laughable things that you might want to put like Forrest Gump's soundboard next to you. Have a couple of laughs. I'll give it 2 chairs because I think that's what it deserves.
That's exceptionally generous, Ben.
Yeah.
Yes.
But much like Forrest Gump, but this game really, really, really struggles to make me give a shit about anything that's happening. That the atmosphere is complete garbage for one. Ben brought up the first sort of jump scare that'll kill you. I sort of backed up at a leisurely pace, and then it disappeared, and I'm like, oh. It's one of these games. All right. It makes the presumption that I will be scared. It's presumptuous that it thinks it's too scary.
But it's
not.
blindingly dark.
It's blindingly dark. Oh my! No, this honestly, like I said earlier, with this type of game, survival horror, atmosphere makes or breaks this game, and 20 minutes in, I realized that there is no chance in hell that this game is going to scare me. I have no desire to continue playing with it. The controls are muddy or overly sensitive, depending on.
Well, it's kind of backwards.
how
You think
the game
about
is
the thing
feeling.
that scares you about Amnesia
Yeah.
and Machine for Pigs is what you don't know.
Exactly. This is classic movie making techniques. The scariest monster is the one you don't see, because your imagination will come up with scarier shit than these guys can come up with. You let it stew in your brain. That's why that PT, the new Silent Hill demo or the new Silent Hill teaser, is brilliant, because it just fucks with your brain and makes you scared. Same with Amnesia, same with Jaws, same with Aliens, all that shit. This game just fails. You play a horror game to get scared. This just falls flat on its face. It's scary that people will actually pay full price for this game. 1 chair.
Yeah. Yahtzee once said there were 3 kinds of horror. He said there was the first one, which was like the Doom kind of horror, which is jump scares. Which you're going down a dark corridor and a monster jumps out going a bloogie woogie woo. And it scares you. That's
Boogie
one.
Woogie Woo.
Yeah, there's the second one, which is the
That's a
amnesia
show
type
title.
of horror. There's the amnesia type of horror, which is you're sure there's a monster hiding in that cabinet, but it doesn't jump out and it doesn't go a bloogie woogie woo, and it's just like, yeah, come on. And that's the kind of horror that fucks with you. And then there's the third type, which he at the time associated with Dead Space. Now, I would even associate it with this game, except this game is complete arse, even when compared to Dead Space. So, well, most of all the other points I could make regarding this game, you guys already made, and but I will add a little something extra. It's very obvious that they copy-pasted some features from the Penumbra engine, what with them being open source now and all, but they failed miserably in their implementation. And it shows, because the game sucks. One chair.
All right, so that's one chair for fun, a deserving one chair. And if we tally up the whole score from the chair'squisition, we get one chair for Blinding
Oh,
Darkness.
look, another Unity game that got a one chair score.
I know, it's shocking, isn't it? Surprise, surprise.
Shock and awe.
The only thing terrifying about this game is how bad it is. Do not buy.
No, the only
Ben,
terrifying
final
thing
thoughts?
is, and the final thoughts about this, this is something we spent your guys' wet, stinky cashes, small amounts, put together, so it was like 30 quid total. And you're going to be a little extra harsh, because we're spending your money, and that makes us, like, we're going to really give this a fucking business. And
Yep.
we did, and it did not fucking deliver. Unfortunately, maybe, out of all of your donations, each person gave like 25 cents, 50 cents, something like that, towards this. And hopefully there's a value there of saying, run away from this
Motherfucker.
busted,
Run,
horrible
you clever
game.
girl, run.
Run, you clever girl. Speaking of clever girls, what do you think, P-Man? Anything?
The first red flag came up when I saw the Steam page for this game, and down at the bottom in the Linux system requirements, it says 3,000 megabytes of RAM. And then it says either an NVIDIA 300M or a Radeon 7000. And I'm like, what? Huh? But, Ven actually, like you said, he used the donations money from you guys to buy everyone a copy, and this is one of those situations that I wish Steam actually had a proper refund policy.
What's up next, J-Bad?
Up next, your hate mail. We talk about Minecraft. We talk about people who don't know how to use Google Translate. It's going to be a fun time.
In your pants.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again, and no, we're not in our period. This is the hate mail.
Well, I
So-
am.
Shut up, Jordan. No one asked you anything. So,
But
just
I'm
as a quick
cleaning up my
reminder,
ass.
if you'd like to get in touch with us, go on over to LinuxGameCast.com, push that lovely contact button on the nav bar, fill out your name, fill out your email, give us a subject and your message, prove perhaps that you're smarter than our bot, and we'll be happy to feature your message, unless you, of course, are trying to promote some sort of crowdfunding campaign. If you are, make sure to include a Linux alpha, beta, demo, prototype, call it whatever you want, because if you don't, we'll just make fun of your shit. Okay? Alrighty then. So apparently someone didn't like our Minecraft comparison.
Yeah, no, this is about from a couple episodes ago. This is
Yeah.
pre our 2-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about the guys from DOS Miner, and they say, "Hey there, I want you to know some things. At first, I want to thank you for finding my game, cause you are the first one making a video of it. And you are right, the game was kind of boring, and the website was not the best. Please notice that we bought the website a few days before you made the video. It's looking much better by now. We also made a new trailer. Shit, and the new versions of DOS Miner have more detail. But there was one point in the video where you were wrong. You told the game is a clone of Minecraft. It is not. As you can see, the game has a story. Story. You have to do something. You can't walk throughout the world and building or destroying everything. That is not the meaning of this game. If you are able to ignore the graphics, you will have a huge good game with lots of quality. Unlike this email.
But let's assume for a moment, just to remind some of our viewers which may not recall what DOS Miner was, it was a terminal, crafty type game which you had some random encounters with cows and chickens, And yeah, a terminal game in 2014 does not look like a huge good game with a lot of quality.
Well,
Just
to be
saying.
fair, I did spend hours in class playing NetHack as opposed to doing actual work.
Yeah,
So
but
there
that
is
was
some-
NetHack.
there
NetHack's
is
sort of
something
a
to be
staple.
there is something to be said for console games. But
NetHack is sort of a staple when it comes to console games. This is not
not
entertaining.
peasant console games, like actual things you plug in a serial cable to, and
Yes, things that you actually play on a terminal emulator of sorts. But Ven, apparently someone was very appreciative of you sharing something.
I'm a huge fan of the phrase "a grievous misapplication of judgment." And this is what we happen to have here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Johnson Games gives me a tweet on the Tweeternets. It said, "Getting close to our Linux stretch goal!" Exclamation point. And I was like, "Oh, really? You're?"
Did they make it? Because they're out of time now.
Yeah, well, here's the whole thing. I was like, John2 Games. I shared that. I got a few followers on the G+, about 4.3 thousand. And they said thanks. And not only did they say thanks, they retweeted that tweet to all of the people for the game. Now, you might be wondering, Vin, what did we say about that? Well, here's what I wrote. You know how much the Linux gaming community loathes Linux stretch goals. It's so 2013. In what can only be described as a serious misapplication of judgment, John2 Games, who knows fuck all about our show, donated a bit of spam. And
That's really sad because it seems like a cool game.
Yeah.
But they're assholes, so we can't.
Yeah,
promote
they're
it.
assholes. Unfortunately,
It's
or
a-
fortunately,
it's a Unity
they
game.
they did get to the Linux stretch goal. They were asking for $60,000 or something to get to make a Linux version. They got it. So this game may come to Linux.
Well, it's a Unity game. They're probably
It's a Unity game. At this point, you don't need the extra $15,000
listen, man,
to
dragons are
actually-
expensive. Dragons are expensive, and so is clicking export. Okay.
It really, really is. But Carl Parker
Apparently.
has something to say to us on Facebook.
Oh,
He says,
God.
Look, guys, I've been trying to install and play Skyrim for like a week, and it's doing my head in. I've seen all your vids, and just not having it. I love Linux. Don't make me go back to you Windows. It sucks balls. Pulls help.
YOLO swag.
What?
YOLO, bitch.
Man.
Did you ever write back?
that-
I think that was on the Facebooks page, wasn't it, P-Man?
Yes, that was a
physically hurt to read.
yeah, that was a Facebook message, and I'm like, I get a random Facebook notification. I'm like, oh, new message on the LGC page. What the?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going in the hate mail.
I started to try to read that, then I was like, wait a minute. Does Google Translate have a 12-year-old YOLO swag setting?
I thought it was going to be hard to top the first email, and then this one comes along.
Yeah.
Showing you how it's done.
But I don't know. Are we still doing the play on Linux thing, or are we ditching that because of?
Yeah,
Port
with
my
that
app.
stupidity. But, you know.
But it's really easy to get running under wine.
Stupidity likes stupidity, so I'm just saying, play on Linux, get you some of that, run the script, install it. It might not work with your special version, but if you have it on Steam, it'll run on
It
it.
actually does.
It'll work with like stock wine. Even.
And
I've had no problem
here's,
with that.
the CSMT patch just makes things like ice. Bit of advice. When you got some questions for our brain organs, you might want to include things like, I don't know what type of video card you have, what distribution you're running, just
version of wine, just some basic information. Because as much as we like to sparkle pixie dust around and glitter, we're not magical Linux fairies, though we do try. We actually
try.
we need hard facts and information to make our judgments.
Well,
Speaking of
we
hard
all
facts.
need something a little hard, and on that bombshell, let's cue the music, sexy. Because you can always find us live every Saturday night around 9:15, 9:30 Eastern Moon Time. Always jump in, get in the shot, be part of the show, and give us a bit of a love. You know, if you like what we're doing, we like to call it value for value. If you like what we're doing, we like what you're doing, and all that works out. Kick us a few bit, you know. You can be on, help us out.
We have an Amazon affiliate link now. It doesn't cost you anything to give us money.
Give us a bit of that taste. But I'm Vin Stone, cleverly disguised at Vin Stone on the Twitter nets, plus Vin Stone on the G pluses, and this sexy man beast.
I got something hard for you at the Burning Fool on Twitter, or plus Jordan Svung on Google Plus, because I am Jordan Svung. The
Do you want to spend all my money? All my money.
I want to spend all your money at
bar. And I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter with a U. Remember, with a U, or plus Pedro Mateos on the Google Pluses,
or at a gay bar actually.
Well, I was about to
or
say,
at the gay bar.
at the end of the day, take that shot. How about we start a war?
Start a nuclear
Start
war.
a nuclear war
Where?
at the gay bar.
Gay bar.
Gay bar.
Yeah. No, good thing you cut on me screaming. No, and then you should just like fade off into the guitar solo from the gay bar.
Well, as long as it's under 3 seconds, we should be okay.